That's exciting. Those are all good things. Hi, hey, Tom, here, and it's Thursday night. I do this thing weekly called the STEM Steam Engine. I'm a little, my eyes feel a little heavy today, and well, just it's late. I'm morning eggs sometimes, especially the last couple weeks. Been very busy behind the scenes. It's tax season, and running a nonprofit is not always all giving back and fun and barrels of laughs. Tax season for nonprofits is a challenge. So yeah, that's okay though. It's quite all right. I'm here. We're doing this, and I have that up there on the screen because tonight is all about 3D printers. I'm here only to talk about 3D printers. I've got some stuff just showed up this morning. I ordered some parts. I have a printer over here that, in fact, that printer right there is over there. I've got it all set up so that we can shift some screens and scenes and do some things, look at some stuff, talk about it. But I'm gonna keep. It's water and cranberry. It's soda water and cranberry, just like plain soda water and a splash of cranberry. It's so good, especially at the end of the day when you've been working your tail off all day. So take care of yourself. I'm a big fan of telling people to take care of themselves. We'll probably be on here. I don't know. My usual plan is about 40 minutes on Thursday nights. Sometimes I try to go over. I feel like I need to go over and drag out the time for the Twitch stats and things. But tonight's gonna be a quick down and dirty on that printer up there. So the printer we have up there. Let's see if I can switch screens if I got the right screen. Dun dun dun. There it is. So I can ditch the small overlay like that. We'll just keep our sponsors up there because, by the way, we are a nonprofit. So if you're catching this, there's some logos over here. There's some things in our About Us. If you're a veteran, we're a veteran nonprofit. Veterans don't pay for any of the things we do. That's why we're a nonprofit. We provide a public benefit to a community in exchange for tax-exempt donations to support that community. Well, we're the appropriate go-between or arbiter of said funds to facilitate good things for that community. So the IRS says. I it's a job I take seriously and all fun and games, but we are a nonprofit, and the Lift and Shift Foundation does everything we can to encourage veterans to join us in the STEM community. I'm an engineer. I've worked in medical research for a little bit. I'm starting a new company, a new LLC, based on health tech type stuff. So it's actually right there. There it is. Poof. And Clever RX is one of our sponsors. Also a pharmacy prescription benefit plan. Check them out. Masterclass is one of our sponsors right there. You can get a free year of access to Masterclass for signing up for basically some emails from us about want to learn more about anything about science. That's it. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. Less than 4 minutes in, but I'm gonna keep doing this because I've been cooped up inside for years now. I mean, we've been quarantined for a while, and I'm out of practice with my pitches and all of my fancy business owner, runner, founder things that happen. You can see me. I'm scratching my face right here. I would never do that on a stage in front of people. But enough about the background of the foundation, and let's talk about printers. Let's talk about stuff. I'm gonna scratch my ear too, because I'm in sweatpants. I'm wearing my last marathon T-shirt. Come on, it's Thursday night. The weekend is almost here. Are you excited? I hope everyone's excited about that. So, what is that printer? What is that right there? That is a CR10 Mini. It's the mini version of the CR10. It's a Creality printer. They're not our sponsor. We don't get anything from them. A few years ago wanted to get into 3D printing. I googled the top 3D printers that are around. The Creality Ender 3 popped up in the list. That was my first printer I bought. I bought it in 2019. After using 3D printers for a while, I used them in a medical lab we work with NYU for a veteran entrepreneur lab, and they've had a variety of 3D printers there, as well as the NYU Makerspace, which has all kind. You would not believe. I'm like a kid in a candy store over there. But anyway, the Ender 3 was a great printer. I still have it. It's over in my bedroom, actually, right next to my bed. We're going to talk about that too in a minute. But the Creality printers really inexpensive, and right out of the box do some good things. And I'm here today because I'm hacking and modding some of it. There's a massive community. If you get into 3D printing and you want to do things, there's a massive community of people who will kind of like car enthusiasts. You have people who have a Honda or a Dodge or something, and they want to, or a Jeep. Jeep is actually a really good example. So people who have like a Jeep and want to trick it all out, put a lift kit on it and big tires so they can go mudding, or I think like Acura, maybe we'll pick Acura, or Honda NSX or something. I don't know, fancier Corvette. You might want to put big wheels on it, tires with low friction, low resistance. I think it is. Exhaust systems, valves, all the kind of stuff to enhance the fuel delivery, and really crank up the horsepower if you want to do some like crazy like racing or any of that kind of stuff. So just like car enthusiasts tweak and tune their cars, there is a massive community out there where you can learn a ton more about what I'm talking to you about. You can go to Tinker, Thingiverse is one that comes to mind. And if anybody pops on to actually check out what I'm yammering on about, I'll say it again. I'll remind everybody again that I'm not the expert. I don't know everything there is to know about every 3D printer. So I'm gonna talk about my 3D printers here, and the one I have, my favorite, it's like my baby, is an Ender 3, and I've got this one up here, which is a CR10 Mini, and it's the bed is bigger, so it allows me to print bigger things. It's about the same size as an Ender, just slightly bit bigger, but I'm in a tiny apartment in Manhattan, and I'm limited on space, and I actually have two CR10 minis set up right here on this table. You're gonna see one tonight. We're gonna get up close with one, but for right now, I'm juggling 3 printers in my apartment as I'm growing a 3D print farm. This printer eventually will get shipped out somewhere else, because I'm building a 3D print farm off-site so that somebody else can run it for me, for the company that right there, Project Biotech. So I'm now getting into the management of the 3D print farm, and this printer right here is going to go through a series of hacks where I'm concerned about noise. I'm concerned about space. I'm concerned about quality. So that printer was about $300, and a couple of things that I've done to it. I've installed some motor dampers on the motors, and that muffled some of the noise a little bit. But let's see, can I go to my browser? What is my browser set to? Oh, nope, my browser needs to be set to right there. Check it out. Oh, can we switch screens this way? There we go. All right, cool. Yeah, got it. So, check it out. This is a decibel meter I installed on my phone earlier and took a reading of the sound level. So you can see it's like 50 decibels about average for the CR10 Mini, and I really want it quieter because I want it to be able to print overnight. When it's actually printing, it goes up to about 60. So what we're gonna, this is just idling, basically, like random idling, like when your car's at a red light. It's not printing anything, it's not going anywhere, it's not doing anything, it's just on. So when it's just on, it's about 50 decibels, and for when you pile a bunch of these in certain places, you want not to feel like you're on an airport runway. So I'm gonna over the week, I'm gonna add a few fans to this. I'm gonna swap a few fans out, actually. Most of the noise that you hear is from the fans. There are 4 fans in this CR10, and there are 3 fans have a broken finger. But there are 3 fans in the Ender 3. So a lot of the things that I'm going to say right now are going to apply to the Ender 3 as well, because the Ender 3 is structured the same way as most of the parts. And I don't have enough cameras around my apartment to be able to show you all of my printers. And that's probably my fault. I set up things here so that I could show you my desk and the printer, and instead of 2 different printers, because that'll just get confusing and frustrating for everyone. The last thing you want to see is me all ready to turn off the stream and go to bed because I can't figure out which printer's which on a Thursday night. But anyway, back to the chat, back to the discussion. So my frustration is that there's a few brands. I went grocery shopping at the crack of dawn, and whenever I get bananas, the little tiny flies come with the bananas for free. I appreciate the grocery store looking out for me. So you can buy a lot of these fans, and I'm going to break them out right now. The 4 fans I got yesterday, I ordered. I can only get them from Amazon. Noctua is a really good brand, a really well-known company, and they're super silent. I have one of their fans installed actually in my computer, and it you can't hear it at all. It's like it's not even on. It's amazing. I love them to death. But for this experiment, I decided I would try a brand called Cooler Master. So let's see if I can switch screens here and do this. Can I? Oh, hey, look, there's another browser. Do I have Zoom set up here? Oh, Zoom is tiny. Why is Zoom tiny? Can't have that now. Zoom, what are you doing? Okay, so there's my desk. There's my desk screen, and I've got all these things from Amazon. These packages that showed up today. So we're going to break those out, and we're going to take a peek at those. Let me turn that back off so we can see me. My screens are a little messed up today because I'm different cameras in different places. Usually I have a tablet around. Instead I've got this thing. So yeah, so let's break it out. Let's dig into this Cooler Master. We're gonna dig it right into it. So these are the packages I got today. Check it out. We're gonna grab them both up, snatch them up here. The first thing we're gonna do is open this. This one. This is the big heavy one. This is kind of like an unboxing. Cool. Except it's not really as gross. Needed. Okay, so I got 3 fans right here. Cool. We're gonna drop them down on the desk. Put that envelope behind me. We got the other one here. There it is. Another fan right here. Okay. Let's switch back to the desk view so I can give you a little overview of the details and the basics. And we're gonna do this. I hate to. I know it sounds like I'm bragging. I'm an electrical engineer. I have a degree in electrical engineering. Blah 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 blah. Means I did a lot of math. It doesn't really mean anything else. So let me position myself so that I'm down a little bit next to you. I kind of want to move over like this, so I feel like I'm actually talking to you. Cool. All right. Let me move some screens around. I can do that today. Yes. There we go. Cool. All right. So check it out. Let's go back to Zoom now that I've kind of got a better idea here. So you can see these are Cooler Master. Can you see that? I don't know if you can actually see that or not. I know. Cool, Cooler Guys. Oh no, Cooler Guys. I thought I was grabbing Cooler Master. Oh, I was probably in a hurry. So Cooler Guys right there. You can't read it because it's backwards. I see that now. Cooler Guys fans. This is a 60 millimeter by 20 millimeter. This is a 50 millimeter by 10 millimeter. This is a 40 millimeter by 10 millimeter. It even says it's good for 3D printers right there. And this is a big beefy 40 millimeter by 20 millimeter. This is a big beefy fan. Okay, so let's talk about the fans. Let me break one out here. Let me break this one out because it's good. So check it out. So it's got this connector on it, but the first thing I notice is that it's only got 2 wires. It's got 2 wires. So when you see this, let me come back. Let me come back to the big boy view. Hey, hi, how you doing? So when you see a fan like this, they come in all different varieties. So you might not know what to order. You might not know what to get. You might say, oh, does it matter if it's got pulse PM? Does it matter if it says PMW, pulse width modulated? Does it matter if it's a 4-wire stepper motor? Does it matter if it's a 5 volt or a 12 volt or a 24 volt? These are all like real questions that you might have for somebody. And I'm here basically to tell you that for the Creality brand of printers, they're all running on a voltage that controls the speed. So this is a 12 volt fan, and if you only send the fan 6 volts, it's only going to go half as fast. So it's very basic. It's very simple. It's not complex controlling. It's just voltage regulated as far as the speed's concerned. So what that means is it's a simple positive and negative as far as the wire is concerned. So you get a blue and a black, or a red and a black. It's a very easy swap. And you can do that. You can do that on your own. And if I hold this up here, I don't know if that. Yeah, my camera's not gonna give you the zoom. Sorry about that. But so let's take it back to the desk here. I'm gonna try to see if I can flip the screen around so you can read what I'm doing. I'm gonna mash buttons on this camera. See if I can see meeting settings. And it looks like I can't change my video. Boo! So I can't flip my video, which is annoying. But maybe I can flip that video in. Nope, I can't do it. I'm using Zoom to share screens and things, so it's not so helpful for you. But anyway, we'll drive on without that. So this 40 millimeter by 10 millimeter fan, this very skinny fan, is going to go right on the front of my printer. It's going to go right where the hot part is, where the pointy part is. This 40 by 20 is not needed in an Ender 3 or any of those Enders with the big box, or without the big box. My printer up that you see up there has a big control box next to it, and this is the beefy fan in the back that blows all the air out of it, and I needed that. And this one is actually, I think, is the loudest one on here. These are all rated less than 20 decibels, so we'll have to see what happens and how this works out. This is a 50 millimeter fan, and this one blows right over the circuit board inside. This CR10 Mini. I think inside my Ender there is a second fan like this that blows over the motherboard. Where in the CR10 Mini with the bigger box, it has this fan blowing over the motherboard. And this is a 60 millimeter fan. I believe this is the fan that's going to fit inside the power supply. They all use the same, I think it's a Meanwell brand, is the brand of the power supply. And this fan should fit inside it. And this is actually very, very, very loud on my Ender. It's one of the loudest parts of my Ender 3 right now. And that's it. So that's a layout of all the fans right here. Over this week, I'm going to swap out. Let's come back to me. Dun 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 dun. Over this week, I'm going to swap out all these fans and hopefully make my CR10 Mini silent. So with that in mind, I think I want to spend the next 15-20 minutes over in front of. Actually, because I can come back and forth. It's just 7 feet away. So let's do this. Let's wander over, and I'm gonna lay out where these fans kind of go. Let's see. Give me just a minute. And I'm going to bring the keyboard over. Why not? Oh, I think we're ready for this. Let me turn my mic around a little bit. You might have trouble hearing me. Check it out. So here I am. Hi, how you doing? Dun dun dun. Hi. Hey, how you doing? Okay, so this was the little 40mm fan that I was talking about right here. This actually will clip right in here, inside. You can see where I'm just going to take this housing off, pull this back, and splice these wires in here. That means I will snip this plug off, and this wire will wire into here, right here, just the two black, you might be able to see it from there, but it's just two wires. It's very easy, very simple. So I'm going to set that aside. We're just going to set that down there for right now. This is the bigger 40 by 20mm fan, like I mentioned. It's fat and wide, and this actually goes in the back, all the way in the back here, inside this box, but in the back. And we're going to swap that out. This also goes inside. This also will go inside this box, right in the middle, because the control board is right in the middle. And this one might be the most challenging so far because we have to take this box apart. We have to take the control box apart, and then we have to separate the power supply and take the power supply apart to get to this fan to be able to replace it. So I expect this fan will be the most annoying fan to replace. Excuse me. So that's where we are right now. But while I'm here, I want to give a couple extra tips. Wait 1 second. So you can see I grabbed this little piece of filament that I'm going to use as a pointer. So you can see on the Ender 3, the bed was about 300mm, and this bed goes much further. In fact, let me crank this down a little so you can actually see it better. There we go. Yep. So you can see this is a rectangle back and forth here. The rectangle actually works better. So the Ender 3 is a square that's this size, and the CR10 Mini gives me like 70 more millimeters this way. So it allows me to print things like shoe insoles. Very cool, right? Cool. Yeah. Okay. So let me put that back over there. And let's see. What else? What else about this? It's only got one x-axis. And we're going to come back. I'm going to take another peek. What I actually got this part out for was because I need to also readjust everything on here from the extruder motor to the height of this riser. I have new risers right here. You can actually see I have replacement risers right here that are shorter. They're only going to be about this tall. So I'm going to make this printer much smaller, and it's only going to print certain things for my new company, and then I'm going to ship this printer off so that somebody else can use it after I'm done designing how I want it to work. But the first part is silencing this, and then reducing the height so that this can fit in a shelf somewhere, packed away. And we will eventually keep modding more and more printers so that we can fill a whole wall with them. And that is our plan. But just as a tip here, I don't leave this. Some people will crank this down right here. Let me get a little closer so I can show you. Some people like to crank these fittings down, and this one I do because this is the hot end. This is where things go. I've seen this in quite a few videos where people let me. Is this still sticky? As I see that's kind of blinding. Nope. Okay, we'll leave it like that. So this is the extruder tube. This is where the filament goes from the extruder into the little nozzle. It's just like a big fancy hot glue gun, and it needs to stay in here. It can't leak out, or it will cause all kinds of problems. So this part is very tight, very put together, solid, and I like to wrench it down just like everybody does in all the videos. But I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube where people discuss this idea of filament swaps and doing things. And one thing I've learned is that this fitting here, this brass fitting here, doesn't need to be wrenched down so tight that you can't turn it by hand. So I leave it finger tight so that it can unscrew like that. Dun, dun, dun. There it is. That leaves an extra option for me. So let's say I want to adjust the extruder steps. Let's say I need to check that. I keep around a small piece of PLA. It's left over from a roll. It's a broken piece from the end of a roll, and I keep it around. So what I will do is I will feed it in here. Just kind of like that. I would have fed it in like that. Almost. Oh, this is terrible. How am I? Okay, I'm butchering it. Okay, so you can see it coming out here at the end. So I will line it up so that it's flat at the end there, and then I will do my measurement. Usually people tell you to measure out 100 millimeters, and then extrude out 100 millimeters with the nozzle, and then measure your distance and figure out the math. There's equations online, but this is one thing that I never see people suggesting is keep this small piece of filament around so that you can make this measurement, and you can do it right from here with no pressure, no stress. You can do this multiple times back and forth, and it's super easy for anybody and everybody to do a quick adjustment if you need to. If you're running a 3D print farm and you're always doing this, having a small piece of filament around is a super helpful thing, because you might need to be poking parts out of places. All of the above. We're running tests, so now I'm going to put this all back right here. And here we go. There, now the threads are lined up. So you can hear this printer is still on. This printer is actually on, and it's at about 50 decibels right now. It's very annoying. Well, maybe you can't hear it, but I'm gonna shut it off right now so we can hear what's up. Now ready? 3, 2, 1. Is that a minor difference? A small difference in the sound? It looks like it on my screen, but I can't tell or not. So let me turn it back on. So now it's back on, obviously. Ready? We're going to turn it back off. So on my screen, I notice a small difference. Not a terrible difference. But I'm going to come back to the desk and wrap up my short chat here. Hey, hi, how you doing? Cool. All right. So there it is. There's my printer. You can see a little bit more of it because it's a better view. It's not the Twitch widescreen edition. It's a box, so a little higher, blah, all that stuff. Anyway, so that's the basics of the project that I'm about to take on. I showed you the screen. There's this decibel meter on my phone. It says that printer runs about 50 decibels, and I will tell you that when it's running an actual print, it goes up to about 60. So we will see that. We will see the dampers. In fact, one second. Damper, as we talk about dampers. Oh, I have dampers here. Jump, 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 jump. Are these the dampers? No, they are not the dampers. Oh, I'm a terrible host. I found the dampers. Cool. So these are stepper motor dampers for a NEMA 17 motor. NEMA is a rating. It gives the right sizes and standard specifications for the motor, like mounts and things. So this fits a standard NEMA mount, and you can see like in the middle. I'll open it, take it out. Here we go. It's exciting, right? It's another unboxing. Oh, we got it. Oh, it's right there. Dun dun dun. So it's got this square plate that attaches to the motor, and then it's got this plate that attaches to the motor bracket or the motor housing. And in the middle, you see this black part right there. That's like a rubber bushing. It's like a big rubber washer, and it helps with the vibration and the shaking of this like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it's supposed to help eliminate some of that shaking that happens through the chassis of the printer, and that's something that I've installed on all my printers so far. So my Ender has these installed. My CR10 Mini has this installed. All of them only on the X and Y axis. I'm considering installing this on the extruder this time, just because I want to see if there's a big sound difference for the extruder. The extruder is right now the loudest part of the printer when the extruder cranks in and out, and the extruder is actually a beefier. It's set to like work heavier and work harder. So that's the basics behind how I'm gonna tackle a noise for this printer. And I will say this. So the fans that I bought, that I just shared, they're 4 fans. They're about $5 each. I can only find them on Amazon, and the same with Noctua. Actually, Noctua is they're super great fans. I love them. They're super silent. They're also between $15 and $20 each. So do the math. $20 times 4. We don't really like to do math here on the stream, but that's like $80. Add the dampers in. You're spending $100 on upgrading the sound for your printer, because this printer has 4 fans. So I'm cutting that in half by using these fans I got off Amazon. We'll find out next week or next time I stream about this whether or not that made a good difference and a big difference. I will say this though, even at $50, even at $50 for all new fans and all dampers and everything else, the one thing that's made my CR10, my Creality Ender 3, my Ender 3 is super silent. My Ender 3 is actually in my bedroom. It's right next to my bed. I will let it run overnight, and it doesn't bother me. It's super silent, and the loudest thing on it is the power supply fan, that 60mm fan I showed earlier. Everything else is quiet, but it's not because of all the mods and hacks I did to it. For the fans, I spent $50 on a new motherboard for it, and the new motherboard has better stepper drivers, so that they're able to feed the motors in a way that stop the whine from the in between the magnetic motion and things. It's because they're stepper motors. There's things that happen, and it happens at a speed, and it creates a resonance frequency that it's trust me, it's all a bunch of math nobody wants to hear about, but it happens, and it makes the motors loud. So the motor the motherboard I got, the new main board, has better motor drivers in it, and those motor drivers made my Ender 3 silent, and it really did. It was such a massive difference in sound. I haven't changed the fans inside the Ender 3 yet, but that's next on my list, because the Ender 3 is kind of like my baby. I've done so many things to it. It was an Ender 3 Pro that I got in 2019. I added a glass bed to it, which changed my whole thought about 3D printers. Let me move my mic back around. Ooh, like that. So adding a glass bed, and my CR10 Mini right there has a glass bed. That comes with a glass bed. The Ender 3 Pro didn't come with a glass bed. It came with that like PEI sheet, I think is what it was. And that was cool and everything. It was magnetic. It came off. You could pop all your pieces off. But the glass bed really like changed how I print, and I dig it. I only print on glass now. And the best upgrade by far was the new motherboard. It's just it's amazing. It's like night and day. And the Ender 3 with all these hacks and mods that I've done to it. I mean the dampers on the motors, the glass bed, and the new motherboard. It's kind of like my baby printer. I'm never going to get rid of it. I'm just going to keep using it over and over and over again, because it's also a workhorse. It worked straight out of the box, pretty much. No modifications, nothing needed done to it. This CR10 Mini, actually I've got two CR10 Minis. They're a massive challenge. They're massive. Neither of them do the same thing the same way, which is why I'm kind of taking this one apart and making it all the tweaks that I could possibly do to it, all of the updates and upgrades and modifications, all of the adjustments to the voltage for the drivers and the motherboards. The only thing I think I'm not going to do to the CR10 Minis is upgrade the motherboard, because I have a laser cutter that attaches, and it needs this version of the motherboard to work. And the laser doesn't cut things, but it will etch stuff. So I'm using it now to build a circuit board prototyping station. So that's something I might share in the future as that comes along, but it's actually a really super cool project. Now that I'm figuring out how to work all these cameras around my apartment and everything else, that's probably something I'll share later on down the line. I'll add some more parts. Maybe we'll start putting some of this online, some of my models, my files, my print files, so that other people can use, like the laser mount I've designed, for example, that kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's the basics of this 3D printer and the changes I'm going to do this week. Like I said, I shared the screenshot. Let me go back. Let me see if I can go back to that screenshot. Did I close it out? Did I close it? I think I closed it. Is that the screenshot? Okay, let's switch screens real quick. So yeah, so that's the screenshot right there. This printer, this CR10 Mini, just idling, just running, not even printing, just on, is over 50 decibels. Kind of conversation level sound, and it's louder when it's printing. So 4 swaps of these fans, and these fans are rated between 15 and 20 decibels each. It's kind of complicated to do the math to figure out if, like, the combination it puts them over. I'm guessing 30, like 30 decibels is what I'll end up with. That's just a generic guess. But yeah, that's it. And since I'm here and it's short, it's pretty much done. I've got let's see. Oh, I guess I can share. Oh, I can share the screen of my Zoom. Let's do that. One last stop before I go, since I usually feel the need to keep the stream running for at least 40 minutes. So check it out. These are the dampers. Like I said, this part has the ring on here, so it clips on the NEMA motor. This is sized for a NEMA 17 motor, which is all of the Ender 3, CR10s, all of the Creality motors are basically the same size. And this side clips right into the motor mount in the bracket with a few screws. Screws are in there. It's right there. I like these motor mounts. I think the print quality goes up for my printer. And this was the motherboard. This is my backup motherboard, because I fried motherboards building my laser. But this is the motherboard that comes in the CR10, and I actually think this is the right motherboard. Maybe. Well, we'll see. Anyway, The motherboards are not exchangeable between the Ender 3 and the CR10. That much I do know. I can vouch for that. I can say that you can't put a any Creality mainboard motherboard in an Ender 3 or a CR10 Mini. If you're looking, if you have any of the versions of the CR10, the CR10, the 10S, the 10 Mini, the 10 Smart 10, I think has its own motherboard. But all of those are different motherboard from the Ender series. So I would say that if you're looking into a motherboard swap, make sure you get the right motherboard for CR10. And if you have either of them, I highly recommend it. It was such a great improvement over everything on my Ender. Sound quality. I was kind of actually. I think the display changed a little bit. There were some settings that were on the original that I didn't see anymore. But that's easy if you are brave enough to go into Marlin and edit it yourself. I haven't yet. I don't have a lot of free time to do that kind of stuff, so I don't. But yeah. So that's my the end of my rundown of this project. I've got things set up. I've got an idea of what I expect. Everything's laid out. I laid out all the fans earlier, and just that extra tip that I keep around a small piece of PLA, because I'm always questioning whether or not my extruder motor is set to the proper steps per revolution, and this small piece of PLA lets me do my extruder test. That little, we're going to pull out 100 millimeters and measure it without all of the shenanigans of a big thing. I can just disconnect the PTFE tube from the extruder, seat this into the end so that it's flush where the thread comes out, set it to go 100 millimeters, and then measure this part right here. And I can do that back and forth, and it takes 5-10 minutes to do that. And that is something I will do with this printer again. I did it a while ago, but I feel a slight difference in my two CR10s in material. So I just want to rule it out so that I feel better and I sleep at night. But now that I'm growing a 3D print farm, these are some of the things that you would want to consider, and you would want to consider possibly running tests every once in a while for like quality assurance, I suppose, as I do my like nerdy engineer thing, and possibly come up with a way to mark your products so that you know which printer they're coming off of, so that when somebody calls you and says your product sucks and they want to send it back to you, you can tell which device that product came from. Then you can help yourself with quality issues, because I will lose sleep over that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got to show for tonight. That's the end of this 3D printer expose. If you have an Ender, you want a basically a 12 volt 40 millimeter fan. I am a big fan of Noctua. Those are the fans that I love them. They're very expensive compared to the fans that I'm trying out today. They're about 3 times more expensive than the fans I'm trying out today. So check back. Hopefully I'll have some good news. And I have in the past tried other fans. I've gone on to DigiKey and tried other fans that were better and moved more air, but they weren't louder, but their the tone of the motor was different. It was a higher pitch, so that if it sounded like it cut through more. Well, from my perspective, I can't verify that for sure, but it sounded like it was a higher pitch that cut through stuff. So I wasn't a fan of the motors I bought, and they came direct from DigiKey. They were 2-wire, but you can get any 2-wire 12 volt 40 millimeter fans are the ones that you're going to want to put on the hot end, the extruder, that box where all the stuff oozes out of, that stuff. And it's just a straight swap. You're going to unscrew the screws, splice the new wires in, and there you go. For the Ender, I believe there's another 40 millimeter fan cooling the motherboard inside. and there's a 60 millimeter fan in the Meanwell power supply. And those are the three fans in an Ender 3. For the CR10, there are three fans inside the control box. There's one blowing out the exhaust. It's a big beefy 40 millimeter by 20 millimeter, and that's the one that I think is not drawing the most power, but putting out the most sound as it sucks air out of the control box. There's a 50 millimeter fan right next to the power motherboard in the CR10 control box. That is super easy. It's right dead in the middle. It's got its own little bracket. You can swap it in and out in a matter of minutes. And there's the same 60 millimeter fan I mentioned from the Ender 3 is in the same power supply, because it's the same power supply from the Ender 3 and the CR10 Mini. It's that Meanwell like 280 watt power supply. On the Ender 3, it's standing up on the side of the build plate. On the CR10 series, it's flat and inside that box. And that's probably a future hack for me anyway, is getting rid of the control box. So you can see that control box up there on the side, to the side. Maybe I can come back to it right there. Yeah, so you can see that big control box right there houses all the power supply and everything else, where on the Ender, that stuff is outside. It's on like a vertical riser on the side. So a future project for me to condense this printer even more is to take all the guts from that box and bring it under the printer, because there's space under the slide. But I had time today, and I was honestly hoping to get this stuff done before, so we could do it before and after. But Amazon delivered stuff late, and I could only get this on Amazon for either these fans and Noctua, which it was kind of disappointing. But hey, it's supply and demand, and that's where the supply is, and that's where we're going for it. All right, cool. I'm over my time. I'm gonna shut my pie hole and be done. But I will end by plugging again the fact that yes, we're a nonprofit, and we do all these things over here. So if you're curious, if you catch the stream, check out some of the links and things. There's our logo, fancy stuff. There's more about us. You go to the website. We are a IRS approved nonprofit. We're not asking for donations. I'm just here sharing the goodwill and telling veterans to do good things, get out there, try some science, try some tech stuff. It's fun to have a hobby, and like I said, there's no fee or anything to join us for our Battle of the Bots. Anybody can actually join us for that. We'll accept challengers. If you have a robot team, bring it. We'll battle you. That's for sure. You can find a way to connect with us on our website. There's the About Us section here on Twitch, and there's all kinds of cool stuff that you can do with us. I'll leave it at that. Okay, thanks.